Okay, all welcome back to the workbench. Well, unfortunately, I haven't kept my promise of a video a month, but better late than never. This is part of February's build, the Ju-87. I'm now in the painting and decaling stage. As you can see here, I'm going through doing panel lines with a flat black pre-shade, and then following up with a light blue. I believe this is RLM 02, which is from the Gunsy range of colours. Not too certain what the actual number is. Then I masked off the wingtips and the cowl and painting them yellow. This aircraft is painted up in the markings and colour scheme of the Battle of Britain Stukas. So these are more of identification markings during that battle. I used a mixture of mediums here, acrylics primarily. Then I hit the upper surfaces with enamels. So this is now Humbrol, was it 117 I think it is, dark green. Then I followed up with a medium green later on when I do the splinter pattern. The Humbrol paints weren't too bad for their age as well. These are some of my oldest paints I've got around. I was a enamel painter and I moved over to acrylics a couple of years ago when I realised that you could paint a model in a day with acrylics, whereas the enamels you'd have to either let them sit and dry for a couple of days or you get the hairdryer out. On this build anyhow, I got the hairdryer out anyhow to help out with a lot of stages in the painting. I also did a bit later on when it came to the washers. This is an aftermarket decal set. The original decals that came with the kit were not that crash hot. They were old, yellowed, and some of them started to shadow during some testing I did early in the piece. So while I was waiting for the as I was actually painting this, I was ordered the decals for some place in Australia. I think it was Southern Cross Decals or Southern Cross Bottles or something like that. They arrived in a couple of days. The Bottom Cruise markings are on the wings. I'm putting the tail markings on the swastika. Swastika here is actually two parts: a white backing and then the black crooked cross itself. This aircraft is actually green A, green A I think it is. You can tell that by the serial numbers on the side, S2AC. The A is actually in green colour instead of a black colour. Decals went on quite nice. Easy to work with, reacted well to the Gunsy Mr. Mark softener. So I've got plenty of left over now to do another Stuka later on if I wanted to. Actually about 4 or 5 different Stukas I think it is. The decal sheet comes with about 8 different ones. As you can see, there's the black swastikas going on now. Having them separate from the white and the black creates a bit of a problem when you're trying to line things up and you got shaky hands, but it's good because you know that's inside register then. Okay, final build here. I kept some of the finer components off the kit until I finished all the majority of the paintwork and all that, so that the speed brakes had to be kept separate. The bomb I kept separate just to make it easy to paint, and the struts that hold up the horizontal stabilizers and the tail surface were separate as well. And here I am just painting it up with the RLM colour. And then afterwards I plugged into the model. Good thing to keep the air brakes or the speed brakes separate during a Stuka build, because then you can see there I'm actually putting into or on top of where one of the decals went. So keep them separate allows you to get a nice application of the decal. You're not having to worry about multiple surfaces. Later on, because Stukas actually did have the markings on the speed brakes as well, you can paint them in using black and white anyhow. Okay, just using, I think this is a Gundam marker I used for the exhaust. It was a rusted metal looking colour. Okay, I actually started another build while I was finishing this one up. Using oils here to weather or panel line the aircraft. I did the wings at once, top side, then the bottom side, then the fuselage. It's a good idea to do it in piecemeal work, but a model this size, yeah, you could get away with doing a couple of surfaces at one time. And I used a hairdryer anyway. When you're doing oils, they take a long time to dry. So I used an air dryer to dry them quickly, and then as you can see here, I'm just wiping down the excess. It has two things. It darkens the colours and also fills in the panel lines. Unfortunately, the panel lines, as opposed to the FW, even though I scratched them in this time round, they didn't come up that too well. The FW looks a lot better when you put these two kits side by side. However, don't forget, this is not a kit, this is like a 1970s kit, or even 1960s kit that I'm doing here. So panel lines were raised, I had to engrave all the ones I was putting on. That little sponge I'm using on the end of the tweezers there, that's a makeup sponge, just to apply or to remove stuff. And there it is, there's the beauty shots. Coming into the final straight here. I didn't go through all the process I did with weathering. There's a lot of silver paint applied to it, pastels, dirt, Tamiya weathering powders, Umbral weathering powders, pastel chalks, etc. They're all over this thing, so this thing got weathered up quite well. Unfortunately though, the camera doesn't like